back to the show today. We are talking about how inexperienced teams and sometimes experienced teams get exposed in the playoffs. Seems like everyone talks about how the game changes once the playoffs begin. Like the rules literally change and some players are better at the game than they were during the regular season, or possibly worse than they were in the regular season. Is this true? Yes, kind of. Obviously it's the same game that was played in the regular season, but a few things are different. Starting with the fact that you're potentially playing the same team 7 games in a row. That gives both teams the ability to study each other and figure out a game plan. They can come up with a game plan that might disrupt the other team's bread and butter. So the 2011 Miami Heat obviously had LeBron James and Dwyane Wade. These were the 2 best slashers in the league. If you think LeBron James gets to the rack easily now in 2024, you should have seen him in 2011. How do you defend a team that frequently drives the paint for buckets? Zone defense. Zone defense allows for your whole team to cheat over onto the strong side of the court. The strong side of the court is the side of the court that the ball's on. This sucked for LeBron and D Wade because when they drove the lane, the Mavericks were able to collapse on them. Hey, this was Mark Cuban's idea. He came up with it, so he says.
And we would throw in zone, get to the finals against Miami, throw a zone against Bron. All you had to do was get him to hesitate 1 or 2, because Bron's always going to make the right play. That slowed him down. That gave us an edge.
I would take pride in that. I would be like, that's my zone.
Well, yeah, and I did.
A lot of people look back on that finals and they think about Dirk Nowitzki being a stretch 4 and getting a lot of scoring opportunities as the reason for the Mavs' success. The truth is, the Mavs actually had a pretty mid field goal percentage at 40%. Guys like Jason Kidd, Shawn Marion, and Tyson Chandler were versatile defenders that could guard basically every position. So guys like Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki could just stand in the right place and force the Heat to play around the perimeter. Another very effective defensive strategy that's been used in the finals is the box and 1 formation. The Raptors used this against the Warriors in the 2019 finals. The box being 4 Raptors standing on each corner of the paint, and the one being Fred VanVleet, whose sole responsibility was to chase around Steph Curry. So what did this exploit exactly? Well, Klay Thompson was out, and so was KD. The only threat out on the court was Steph. The box defense basically left every player open out on the perimeter. Players like Draymond Green and DeMarcus Cousins weren't willing to shoot the ball from 3, but the lane was completely clogged by the box. A lot of Steph's offense was based on motion and him getting open off the ball, and it still kind of is. But the formation rarely got him open, and when he did catch the ball, he was immediately double-teamed. Nick Nurse knew that it was a waste of energy to guard every Warrior player man-to-man. They could slack off them and dare them to shoot the ball, then just focus on keeping Steph from finding his rhythm. Again though, just like the 2011 Dallas team, it took defensive buy-in from every single player on the Raptors. Another way players get exposed, or player gets exposed in this instance, I'm gonna be honest, this is a pretty unique case, is a player's lack of IQ or situational awareness. I'm sure most of you remember J.R. Smith in Game 1 of the 2018 finals.
Hill misses. Rebound goes to the Cavs. J.R. Smith brings it back out. Throws it to Hill. Hill shot blocked. And we'll go to overtime. I get the feeling J.R. Smith thought they had the lead.
The Cavs were down 1 to Golden State, but George Hill had a pair of free throws to shoot. This gave the Cavs the opportunity to go up by 1. He makes the first free throw, but he misses the second. Luckily, J.R. Smith pulls down the rebound to save the day, right? Not only that, he's wide open for a field goal. But wait, he pulls down the board and then runs away from the basket? What's he doing? His team is obviously very frustrated and confused. You can see LeBron berating him, and J.R. Smith, if you read his lips, he says, "I thought we were up." The game went into overtime, the Cavs lost the game, and then ultimately the Cavs got swept in the finals. You can only imagine how frustrated JR's teammates were. Here's LeBron's reaction to hearing that in addition to JR screwing the pooch, they actually had a timeout. They could have inbounded the ball with around 4 seconds left and got the final shot off. JR had a reputation at the time for being a clutch 3-point shooter. But now, let's be honest, his whole career has been reduced to this meme. For casual NBA fans, all of us sickos know JR was pretty good. One thing Rockets era James Harden was known for doing in the playoffs and in the regular season was preying on a team's big man that couldn't switch in the pick and roll. He did it so much in the 2015 Western Conference Finals that the Warriors had to bench Andrew Bogut. Every time a big man would set a screen for Harden, it became a one-on-one between him and the other team's big man, a usually pretty slow, lumbering player. Now you never see a player like Andrew Bogut, a guy that can't switch and defend a guard, at least a little bit. Now the Raptors the same year did a similar strategy that they did on Curry to Joel Embiid. The Raptors focused on help and recovery defense. Every time Joel, or any player on Philly really, got the ball inside the 3-point line, they were immediately double teamed. Not only that, a third defender would cut off the obvious pass. And then in the following season after this playoffs, Joel Embiid was actually held to 0 by the the Toronto Raptors using this same strategy. You may sound like, well, this isn't a strategy, that just sounds like good defense. Well, it is a strategy because Nick Nurse left a lot of open shooters out there for the Sixers. The Sixers did not want to shoot threes and they did not want to shoot pull-up jumpers. Nurse knew that and he exposed them. It's interesting now to watch Embiid play timidly like that, right? Now he shoots a lot from the mid-range. That's actually a pretty efficient shot. And now it seems like every time he's double teamed, he just goes up strong, finishes, and gets an and one. It definitely shows you that since 2019, Joel Embiid has found the weaknesses of his game and got rid of them. Aside from getting injured all the time, but I don't know what you can really do about that. The last aspect of playoff performance and exploitation I want to talk about is living by the three and dying by the three. It's a strategy that a lot of teams employ. There are so many teams that are in the playoffs right now that are heavily relying on guys making threes in order to have any success whatsoever. I think three-point shots are the great equalizer of basketball. In soccer, they call rain the great equalizer because the skill level of both teams sort of equal out. The water makes the ball do unpredictable things. Neither team has really practiced in the rain, so both teams are pretty much at the same level. In the NBA, I believe that's what the three-point game is. On any given night, any team can shoot 40 three-pointers and maybe they'll make 24 of them. They are professional basketball players. Why not? It could happen. And if that happens, that team's probably gonna win, even if they're the worst team in the league. But again, it rarely happens. I don't know if you guys remember this, but on the 28th of December this year, the abysmal Pistons almost beat the formidable Boston Celtics. They went into overtime. It was really close. Both teams were shooting a lot of threes, and the Detroit Pistons were only shooting at a 4% better clip than the Boston Celtics. But that was enough to almost get them the win. And they were trash, man. Let's keep it real. If a bad team wants a chance to win, they gotta huck up threes. But they run the risk of losing in a very embarrassing fashion by bricking 90% of their shots and losing by 40. The ultimate example of a good team that lived and died by the three is the 2018 Houston Rockets. That team's strategy was to go 40% from three at a high volume, and that's how they would win games. They played the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals that year, and they almost beat them. They were up 3-2, and in the first quarter of Game 6, they were up 39-22. It was feeling like the Rockets were gonna win. That was the KD and Steph Warriors, by the way, but they ended up losing Game 6 because they got cold from three. And in Game 7, they died by the three, dude. They shot 44 three-pointers and they only made 7. That's 15.9%. Trevor Ariza shot 9 three-pointers, he made 0. I like Trevor Ariza a lot, and watching him shoot brick after brick after brick was really tough for me. And it was probably not much fun for him either. So this year, I believe there are two teams that are definitely going to live and die by the three. The first one is the Lakers with D'Angelo Russell. If D'Lo is making threes, he's one of the best players on the court. If he's not making threes, all he is a defensive target. And the other team is the Dallas Mavericks. I believe that the Mavericks' success is all going to depend on Dante Exum and Tim Hardaway Jr. making their threes. Luka and Kyrie are going to do their thing. Alright, that's the show. Thank you for being here. If I missed something, let me know. I always reply. If you like the video, like it. If you didn't like it, go thumbs down. Be good to your mothers. Eat a corn dog.